Welcome, everybody, to Agent Investor, the only brand that helps real estate agents get off the real estate roller coaster by combining being an agent and being a real estate investor in a way that doesn't take up any additional time, doesn't require you to have a bunch or really any capital, and allows you to have guaranteed money coming in the door each and every month that grows year over year. If you're on the real estate roller coaster, if your income is always going up and down, and you love real estate, but the anxiety and the stress of producing each and every month is getting to you, investing in real estate will take all of that away. We teach and train on what I call the agent investor model that I'm going to talk a little bit about today. But there are many, many ways for real estate agents to invest in real estate by just being aware of the great deals and the great opportunities that come across their plate each and every day just by being an agent. But today, the topic and what I want to talk about is a 2025 year in review. And how do you make 2026 or whatever next year, regardless of when you're listening to this, how can you guarantee that you're going to have your best year yet next year? Okay. Now, as I'm recording this, October 17th, 2025, again, I'm sure that this will be released later on. Why are we already talking about 2026, right? When we're just, the middle of October right now. Well, everything that you do, pretty much any activity that you do, whether it be in real estate sales or real estate investing, whether you're lead generating, going on an appointment, posting a listing, purchasing a fix and flip deal, purchasing a rental, getting your rental rent ready, everything that you do pretty much from here on out for the rest of the year is going to impact your 2026 profit and loss. There are few and far between activities that you're going to do from now until the end of the year that will really impact this year. Okay, so I want to talk about next year, right? We always want to have a good next year. And now is really the time to start thinking about and planning it. Furthermore, beyond just doing it like once a year or any one particular time of the year, you should be looking at how you're doing on a weekly basis and reviewing your goals at a minimum on a quarterly basis. So I know I've mentioned this in past podcasts, but it bears repeating because it's so important. Each and every one of you needs, not wants, but needs to have numbers that you look at on a weekly basis to know if you're on track to hit your yearly goals. Like if you're not doing that right now and we're in October, it's something that I would encourage you or really, jump up and down and scream from the rooftops that you've got to start working on as soon as possible. Every Tuesday morning at 6 o'clock, me and a few members of my leadership team, we review our weekly numbers. And our weekly numbers, of course, if we hit them, they're going to tie to our yearly goals. If we hit our yearly goals, guess what? We're probably going to hit our long-term goals. And your long-term goals are really, depending on how you want to define it, 3, 5, 10 years out. To me, the long-term goals are all about really how you want your business to change your life. Because, of course, we run a business. We're agents, we're investors. Why are we doing this? Well, we want a better life for ourselves and the people that are in our lives that we care about. That's what we really want, right? So you need a clear understanding of exactly what you want your life to look like. And then you have to architect the year so that each and every week, each and every day, you are doing the activities that are needed to hit your goals. I know that sounds really simple, but if I had to kind of put a number on it, I would bet that 9 out of the 10 people that are listening to this right now have not done this or are not currently doing it. It's why I talk about it probably more often than anything else, which is like if you're not looking at your numbers on a weekly basis, if you're not reviewing your goals on a quarterly basis, if you don't have goals, it's really hard to have your business kind of like impact your life. It's like you're steering a ship without really knowing what direction you're going into. So with all of that, being said, the activities that we're doing right now are going to impact 2026. Now is a good time to kind of look and say, well, how have I been doing in 2025? What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? Am I on track to hit my 2025 goals? If I am, great. If not, what do I need to be doing differently? So this is the time of year where I would look back, and if you had already done this exercise of writing out your goals and you have all of your weekly numbers that you're looking at, I would take a look at that right now. And I would take a look at what your goals were in the beginning of the year, the progress that you're making towards those goals, and whether or not you're on track. If you're not on track, right, I would, emphasize and really put some time aside for a thought exercise of why do you think that you're not hitting your goals or your numbers, right? Because it is very common for all of us, myself included. You get into habits, right? I think they say it takes 21 days to kind of build a habit, but we all get into habits. We all get into daily routines. And if you set goals, say you set goals in December or January, it can be really easy to go 10 months later, 11 months later, 12 months later, and really not to have thought much about the plan and to get caught up in kind of just doing. It's so easy to do it, particularly for real estate agents, because there are a lot of different directions that we're being pushed in, right? So I would take some time, like right now, you might even want to pause the podcast episode and get back onto it, or, take some notes right now. But as a thought exercise, I would sit down in a quiet room where, you have an hour, 30 minutes, whatever, and just say to yourself and take a look at what your goals are. Or even if you didn't go through the process of setting goals towards the beginning of the year, think about what you thought maybe you wanted to achieve in 2025. Write that down and then say, did I hit it or not? And then if I did hit it, what were the things that I did well this year? And I would make a list of as many things that you can think of that worked, as many things that you can think of that produce results. And I would think about it in terms of like the Pareto principle as well, the 80-20 rule. What are the 20% activities that you did this year that produced the biggest results? So I would literally write that down. I might even go back, if you're an agent investor, right? What are you trying to do? Well, you're looking to have real estate sales, right? You're also looking to get real estate deals for fix and flips. You're looking to acquire properties to hold long term. So I would look and I would trace back all of that stuff. And I would say, I'd write out every single sale that I did, every single flip that I did, every single asset that I acquired, every single dollar that I raised to do my deals, whatever it is that's important to you and your agent investor business. And I would source it. Like I would literally go, okay, 1, 2, 3 Main Street flip. How did I get it? Right. And then put everything down, go through all of your big deals, all of your deals this year. And how did I get it? Because that's going to tell you a little bit about like what you need to kind of do more of. Now, if I talk to 10 different successful agents, I'm going to get 10 different variations of things that kind of work for them. I know we all know kind of the various ways that people get deals, transactions, raise capital, whatever, but everybody's a little bit different. Some people are really good at just, networking with friends and family. Some people are really good at social media. Some people are good at paid leads. Whatever whatever the way that you do business is, how can you do more of that starting now and going into 2026? Now, on the flip side of that, I would also say and think back. This is going to be a thought exercise. This is going to take you some time. But think back to kind of the stuff that you tried or spent a lot of time in 2025 that didn't produce results. Okay. And of course, I mean, again, this might sound like an obvious statement, but a lot of times we get caught up in just doing, that we forget to cut out the stuff that's not really working. Right. So what are the things that you did? What are the activities, behaviors, time spent in 2025 that didn't produce a lot of results? It's always helpful if you do have time to kind of write down on a journal like how you spent your time week by week, even if it's just kind of like shorthand and it only takes you 5 minutes. But if you don't have a log of how you've spent your time, just brainstorm, right? What is your usual daily routine? What does it look like? What are you spending your most amount of time on? And is it giving you the results that you want? Right? And again, this is very simple, but a lot of times we get caught up in the day-to-day and we kind of just keep doing things that don't really produce a lot of results. Even if something produces a small amount of results, but it's taking a lot of time, that might still be something that you want to cut out of what you're doing, right? So with that being said, I would spend, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour to kind of review, the past year, 2025. And by the way, if you didn't set yearly goals or you don't review your numbers on a weekly basis, or, it's difficult for you because you never really tracked your time, don't beat yourself up. This is not meant to be you grading yourself on running your business, but this is a setup for having a successful 2026. So the more inputs we have as to how we did in 2025, the better, but do the best that you can. And then, we're going to talk about rolling it into 2026. So I already talked about, going through your revenue sources, like tracking all your deals, all your revenue, where do they come from, and then doing more of that. The other thing that you should be looking at is how you're spending your expenses. Okay. Now, everybody's a little bit different here. Some of us have businesses where we've got marketing budgets or we have business expenses. Some of us have very little, so some of us are very lean. But this would definitely be the time of the year to start going through all of the expenses, all of the business-related expenses. It probably wouldn't hurt to do the personal ones either, but definitely the business ones. And looking to see if we are getting the return on our money that we need, right? Pretty much every business expense should be helping us to earn more revenue, right? As much as possible. So I take a look at all the expenses, make sure that if we can cut stuff that we're not getting return on our investment on, I would cut that. All right. So with that being said, that should give us some clues on what our 2026, maybe should start to kind of look like. The more insights that, we can get, the better. And one other thing I would add to this is that this should be something that you do on a monthly or a quarterly basis. Like, this shouldn't be setting goals, reviewing your numbers. Shouldn't be something that you do just once in a great while, right? All right. So moving into 2026. The first thing I would think about in 2026, because this is the Agent Investor podcast, is I would really seriously be thinking about whether or not you are building an agent investor business. A lot of the people who come to my events, who listen to the podcast, who read my emails, who respond to me or talk to me through Facebook, they kind of, want to be agent investors, but a lot of agents have not really committed fully to doing it. And by the way, you can try to be an agent investor passively. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. But if you really want to become financially independent, if you want to earn passive income, if you want to earn big chunks of income through flipping, if you want to get off the real estate roller coaster, one question I would have for all of you as we're getting towards the end of 2025, if you haven't committed to being an agent investor yet, is 2026 the year that you're going to do it? I'm going to review really quickly what the agent investor model is, 2 minutes on it, just so that everybody has a pretty good understanding of it, so that it can help you determine whether or not you can start now, but whether 2026 is really going to be the year that you do it. All right, so the agent investor model, the goal of it is to get agents off the real estate roller coaster by investing in real estate without needing a whole bunch of money or needing a whole bunch of extra time, but needing to plan strategically. Today's all about planning. Are you planning to become an agent investor? The agent investor model is really simple. It has 3 steps. So step number 1, keep selling real estate. Like, don't stop selling real estate. You're a real estate agent. You're likely a successful real estate agent, or at least a producing real estate agent, or a wanting to be produced real estate agent. That part doesn't really matter. That is how you earn your income. That's your bread and butter. And in fact, by just being an agent, you're actually going to do more investing deals. So don't stop being an agent. But step number 1 says, start to put a little bit more focus on generating seller appointments and deals, right? This is not going to be a podcast on exactly how to do that, but I can tell you that the more seller appointments that an agent has, the better their agent business is going to be, and the more likely they are to come across fix and flip opportunities. The more that agents keep an eye out for fix and flip opportunities, the more they're going to do, right? So there's a lot of strategies within bullet point number 1, but essentially keep selling real estate, shift your business a little bit towards looking for deals, looking for sellers. Step number 2, as you start shifting your business a little bit more towards sellers, a little bit more towards finding deals, flip those properties. Now, you don't have to do the flips yourself. Most of you already know about our agent partnership program. In our agent partnership program, when you find a flip, we put up all the money, we do all the construction, and we split the profits 50-50. The average profit that we split with an agent on the flips is $80,000, which means that the average agent, when they send us a deal, is going to get cut a check for $40,000 just for sending us a deal. We put up all the money, we do all the construction. To learn more about our agent partnership program, go to www.partnerwithagentinvestor.com. Again, that's www.partnerwithagentinvestor.com. Okay. So step number 1, keep selling real estate, start looking for more sellers, start looking for more deals. Step number 2, when you do come across deals, either fix and flip them yourself or partner with us. And step number 3 is to take those big chunks of income that you earn from the fix and flip deals and invest them in long-term passive assets, whether that be syndications, whether that be small multifamilies, whether that be short-term rentals. Regardless, invest that money, whether that be in gold. I mean, right now, geez, I cannot believe what's going on with precious metals right now. Gold and silver, they've basically almost doubled in the last 12 months. But, we do focus on, hard assets here, real estate, but man, that's been going crazy as of late. So that's the agent investor model. Think about whether or not you want to follow it, right? Do you want guaranteed monthly income every month that you can earn from investing your big chunks of income from flips into hard assets? Again, real estate or, whatever you invest in, right? All right. So is this the year that you're going to follow the agent investor model? If it is, one quick recommendation that I would have that's super simple is to attend one of our upcoming upcoming agent investor events. We run these typically either every month or every 6 weeks, regardless of when you're listening to this right now. if you go to www.agentinvestorevent.com, it will always take you to the next upcoming agent investor event. So I'm not going to promote any particular event right now because you could be listening to this podcast months later or weeks later, but go to www.agentinvestorevent.com to learn more. All right. So you've reviewed your 2025. You're looking at what you've done well and you're going to do more. You're looking at what you did bad and you're going to stop doing it or reduce doing it. You are considering whether or not you want to become an agent investor, whether you want to follow the agent investor model. You've watched our webinar on our partnership opportunities at www.partnerwithagentinvestor.com, and you've attended one of our in-person events at www.agentinvestorevent.com. What do you do next? Well, I want you to start thinking about 2026. First thing I want you to think about, and again, this is another thought exercise. This is one of the few podcasts that I'm giving you a whole bunch of homework, but it's important homework. The first thing I want you to think about is, why did you get into real estate? And what do you want your real estate business to do for your life? It's a hard question. It's a hard question. It's a big question. What do you want your life to look like in 3, 5, 10 years? Because we then have to engineer the map of our business to make sure that our business is producing the change in your life that you want. I mean, I know that, is kind of a simple thing, but everybody wants different things, right? So depending on what you want, your goals and your actual literal minute by minute, hour by hour activities that you should be working on are going to be different. Okay. So I want you to think about what you want your life to be like in the next 5 to 10 years. I want you to write that down. I want you to also write down, like, what are the expenses associated with that? Like, how much money do you need to make on a monthly basis in order to do that? Like, write out every single thing that you need, the house that you're going to own, the mortgage payment, the car that you're going to own, the tuition that you might have to pay, whatever it is, write it all out. What does that monthly number come to be? Okay. And then we've got to reverse engineer that, right? We've got to say, okay, well, now what do we need our 2026 to look like? If we're trying to get to an end time period of 3, 5, 10 years, well, what progress do we need to make in 2026 in order to make progress towards that end goal, right? Because 1 year, hey, look, if you're looking for somebody to tell you that you can, achieve the life of your dreams in 1 year, you're going to the wrong person, right? There's probably some other guru, some other seminar that will be able to tell you that will tell you that, hey, give me 6 months, pay me a $50,000 coaching fee, and your life will be changed in 6 months. That's not what we talk about here. We talk about making year over year progress, making big impacts in your life in probably like a 5-year period, right? 6-year period, 7-year period, right? If we work hard. So what does that 2026 need to look like in order to make that happen? Okay. And then taking that down even one more step, what should our weekly scorecard look like? I know I talked about this a lot already. I've talked about this a lot in other podcasts. I talk about it a lot because, as simple as it is, most people don't do this. Most people don't have weekly meetings, even if it's a 10-minute meeting with themselves to review their weekly numbers, right? Review your numbers weekly. Look at your numbers weekly. Am I on target for the year, right? And if you're not, right, if you know that, hey, if I want to take 20 listings this year and flip 3 houses, I need 1 seller appointment a week. Well, every week, if you need a seller appointment, are you getting it? And if you're not, what changes do you need to make in order to get it, right? So, and then taking that down to the quarter. Like, what are the specific projects that you need to work on this quarter in order to hit that yearly goal? And I know I'm covering some of the stuff somewhat quick, but this is the type of stuff, these are the thought exercises that you need to have in order to make sure that you're going to have a great 2026. And you want to have a great 2026. Every year, the title of today's podcast, 2025 in review and how to make sure 2026 is your best year yet. Well, every year that you go forward should be your best year yet. Why? Because the foundation of your business, the building of your business, the systems in your business should always be improving, right? Every year that you go on, your business should be getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to make double what you made last year, but it does mean that every year that goes on, you should be adding assets. You should be creating better systems for lead generation. You should be creating more systems for saving time. You should be, over the course of time, leveraging out your own time so that you get more of your time back to work on the 80-20 stuff, the 20% that produces 80% of the stuff. As agents, we spend a lot of time in minutia. We spend a lot of time not really doing value add things. Something, simple that I mention all the time, like if you don't have in your listing contract, a transaction coordination fee that you can add in there and then hire a transaction coordinator for your deals. Like, you should have a transaction coordinator on every buyer and seller transaction that you do. You want to buy back your time, right? Buy back your time to do the more impactful things. Buy back your time to become the rainmaker in your business, right? Because that's really what it's all about. You've got to become the rainmaker in your business that is producing all of the opportunities, all of the appointments, all of the investor deals, right? That's your highest and best use of your time as an agent. So if you're not getting better year over year, right, then, things need to change, right? Every year, every new year, you should feel like, okay, like, I don't know how much more money I'm going to make than I made last year, but I know I'm going to do better because I have a better foundation. I have better systems. I have better tools. I have more of a network. I've grown my database, etc. So a lot of the stuff I mentioned today, again, it sounds really simple. It probably sounds like common advice. It probably sounds like, geez, of course, yes, yes, of course I will do this. But from somebody that coaches, mentors, and trains agents on how to invest in real estate and achieve financial freedom and have really successful retail businesses, it is stuff that I don't see happening day over day. I don't see many agents reviewing their goals consistently. I don't see many agents reviewing their numbers on a weekly basis. I don't see many agents looking and writing down how they spend their time on a weekly basis and trying to get better. I don't see many agents trying to stop doing the low-level tasks that they know that they should be doing and spending their time on the 20% of their business that produces 80% of their results. So this is a topic that I will hammer and hammer and hammer and hammer over and over and over again because it is that important. If you don't have goals, if you don't know where you're going, you're not going to get there. Of course, we all know that. If you are not tracking and measuring what you're doing on a daily and weekly and monthly basis, you are not going to hit your goals. Like if you're sitting here and it's October 2025, this is when I'm recording it, and you're like, shoot, I didn't hit my goals for this year. It is likely because you haven't done a lot of the stuff that we talked about today. All of this stuff is very simple, but in practice, it's not quite that easy because we do get in these daily habits day over day over day that really don't help us produce the results that we want. So with that being said, if you want to learn more about partnering with us, you want to become an agent investor, please go to www.partnerwithagentinvestor.com. watch that webinar, come to one of our upcoming events at www.agentinvestorevent.com. Take the time, right? Take the time to jump on the webinar. Take the time to come to the event. Commit. Like, is 2026 going to be the year that I become an agent investor? Or is it going to just be another year where I say, yeah, I'm interested, but I don't take action? You have got to take action. You are not going to build passive income. You are not going to build a super successful business by being passive about it. You have to be proactive. You have to take action. And I want you guys to have a great 2026. So thank you for tuning in today. Again, jump on the webinar, www.agentinvestor, a partner with agentinvestor.com. Sorry, partner with agentinvestor.com is the webinar. Agentinvestorevent.com is